Hey guys, thanks for watching Homesteading on the Side, and today we're going to can some dried pinto beans. So I was going through my pantry and trying to keep up with the inventory and just kind of go over everything I have just to make sure that my count was right. And I found in the corner of the pantry some beans. I use pinto beans for refried beans. It's easy just to take a can of it out and mash it up, put some fajita seasoning in it, you know, and they taste wonderful. But I have two different kinds. I have 3 bags, and I'm not exactly sure how old they are, but they seem to be good. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and can these up. So I'm going to start by putting all of these together in a colander and rinsing them and picking out any of the bad ones, making sure there's no sticks or rocks or anything like that in them. And we're going to need some canning salt. So let's get started. Alright, my beans have been rinsed and cleaned, and I've picked through them to make sure there's no bad ones, no sticks, rocks, anything like that in here. And I've put enough water to cover them by 2 inches. So I'm going to bring these up to a boil. And once it starts to boil, I'm going to time it for 2 minutes and cook them, boil them. And when I have to set a timer because I'll forget. And when the 2 minutes is up, I'm just going to turn the burner off, put them to the back burner when I move my kettle, and let them sit for an hour. Alright, beans are boiling. Timer set for 2 minutes. I'm going to start it, and I'm just going to let this boil away. I am going to turn my heat down just a touch so it doesn't start like boiling over. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to let this boil for 2 minutes, and we'll be back. Alright, timer went off. It's been 2 minutes. You can see how much they plump. I'm going to have to get a bigger stock pot to do the second go around. So now that these are done boiling, I'm just going to move them to the back burner here and let them sit for 1 hour. Alright, they've been sitting for an hour, so I'm going to get these drained off, and I'm going to put them in a bigger pot and cover them with 2 inches of water. Alright, so I just drained them and put more water in, enough to cover by 2 inches. I'm going to bring this to a boil, and once it comes to a boil, I'm going to turn it down just a little just to keep it as a gentle boil, and then add a lid. And I'm going to boil these for 30 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to get Bertha set up. Alright, it's boiling. I'm going to turn it down just a touch to keep it at a gentle boil. Lid on. 30 minutes. So a couple minutes before the beans were done, before my timer went off, I went ahead and got my vinegar to wipe the rims. I put some hot water in here and let my lids soak. All these have come out of the dishwasher, so they're still warm. I got my lids together, my salt. My canners start heating up. It's just about done. My beans here, I always put a towel down. And this helps keep my counter clean while I'm canning, especially like sticky stuff, like jelly and jams or anything red, you know, tomato sauce and salsa. So I put this down, and then when I'm done, I just throw it into the washer. So I don't have my whole counter that's either stained, sticky, or a hot mess to clean up. So here's my beans. They're done. And the towel also acts as a hot pad, so I can put that here. That way I can keep my canner on the front burner and just go from the canner to the jars to the canner. So it's just one streamlined process. So I'm going to start getting my jar. See, I'm one-handed, so I'll only do like one for you. Just because, like I said, I'm one-handed. And I'm going to fill the jar 1 inch from the top. And I'm doing quarts. You can do pints if you like, but with how many I feed and anytime I do any kind of like refried beans are usually what these are for. They actually are really good. I have to do a quart jar. A pint is just not enough for what I need it for. So if you're doing pints, by all means, it's going to be about the same. Go ahead and fill it up 1 inch from the top. And then add, for quarts, it is 1 teaspoon of salt, and for pints, it is half a teaspoon of salt. Pack those down in there just a little. Get some more in there. Make sure we get maximum fillage. Yep. And then my 1 teaspoon, and I use canning salt when I'm canning, go figure. So, one-handed is difficult. Okay. There's my teaspoon. And then I'm just going, I don't want to have to heat up a whole nother pot of water, so I'm just going to use the cooking liquid to ladle over and fill the jar. Just, I don't want to have to put a whole nother pot of water on just for filling up the jars. And the color doesn't bother me. I know it's just bean juice. Alright, so make sure you debubble. It's going to be a little difficult because of all the beans, but try your best. And yeah, I'm starting to squish them. Okay, those are good. I use straight vinegar to clean my rims. Make sure they're nice and clean. Do a lid. Screw this on fingertip tight. And into my canner she goes. So let me get the rest of these done and we'll be right back. Don't know if you can see, I got exactly 6 quarts. So they're in, it's boiling. I'm going to put my lid on. Make sure you check your seals. I got the amount of water that was required by the manufacturer in my canner. Make sure you always look at your manual. So I'm going to get the lid on this and let it start to vent. Alright, it has started to steam. I don't know if you can see the vent. No, probably not. Probably not. But it is venting, and it's a pretty good vent. So I'm going to start my timer for 10 minutes and just let this vent. Alright, it's been venting for 10 minutes. If you want to go ahead and put my... I have a 10-pound weight. Check your altitude, but mine's 10 pounds here. I live probably right at sea level. And I'm going to process these for 1 hour and 30 minutes. If you are doing pints, it's only 1 hour and 15 minutes. But I will start my timer as soon as this starts to jiggle. Alright, I'm rocking, so I'm going to turn my temperature down just to maintain a gentle rock. I don't want it to be like too vigorous or anything, so I'm going to turn it down between medium and high, more towards the medium side. And timer is on. Alright, timer went off. I'm just going to turn the heat off, and I'm going to let this cool and come to room temperature all by itself. It's going to take a little while, but this will stop jiggling. There will be no steam. This little button will have popped down. So I've turned the heat off, and now we're just going to let it sit. Alright, pressure's come down. This is falling. This is down. When you move it, there's nothing. No steam, nothing. But this is still super hot. So I'm going to open the canner, and when you turn it, make sure you open it away from you because it's still hot and there's still steam. So I'm going to open the lid and let it rest for 10 minutes before I remove my jars. Alright, so it's been 10 minutes and it's time to pull them. I've still got my towel down. That's why I love using a towel. You can see they're still bubbling in there just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and take them all out of the canner. It smells like beans in the house.
Mommy, I'm going to scream about this math folder first. Before.
Baby, I will look at your math folder in one second.
I'm on blue.
Say, luckily there is nothing that broke, nothing that leaked out. The water's still clear. So everything's good. Just waiting on the pings. Now I gotta find something to throw together for dinner real quick. Hope you enjoy.